In this video, I am going to provide you with two different types of concrete treads that could be attached to a wood stringer with metal brackets or even metal brackets attached to metal stringers. And these are the most common ones that I worked with. And this would be a concrete tread with a metal plate located somewhere on the side. And then the treads would be positioned in the right spot and then welded, and are usually going to be the easiest ones to make small, minute adjustments to in case the stringers aren't located in the right spot or the brackets when building stairs like this. So metal plates on both sides, and then they were often just tack welded in maybe 1, 2, or 3 spots. However, I have seen them welded all the way across. And that seems like it would be the best way if the tread and the bracket wouldn't separate somehow from all of the heat. And I have seen these welds break. So here's the tread, here's the metal plate. And if you were looking for something like this, they can usually be found on the internet under Precast concrete stair treads. And it's always going to be a good idea to have about 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch gap between the wood and the concrete, just in case the concrete absorbs some moisture and then transfers that moisture into the lumber over a long period of time, causing it to rot. And of course, that was usually my job, to replace the wood stringers and reattach the concrete and the brackets to them because they were not maintained. And the next method for installing precast concrete treads would be to have a couple of bolts sticking out of the tread that can be attached to a metal bracket. And this is one of the reasons why I'm making the video, to point out that these brackets need to have some type of a slot in them or a larger hole. Otherwise, you're going to have a difficult time attaching the treads, because if these brackets are off just a little bit, you will not be able to install the tread. And even if the brackets are installed in the exact same spot on both sides, then you would need to make sure that nothing would be out of square up here, or that the stair stringers were installed square to the surface that they are going to be attached to perfectly. And this is why I wouldn't use this process. I would use the treads that can be welded to the brackets, so that I didn't end up with something like this and try to tweak the concrete stairs to where you're going to force these bolts in here. That'll create a lot of pressure for the bolts in the concrete treads and possibly cause them to crack, or remove the lag screws so that you can reposition the metal bracket and then try to reinstall the lag screws, and hoping that they are not going to try and go back into the original holes. For example, if you do need to remove the bracket and move it over about 1/4 of an inch, there's a good chance that the lag screws aren't going to go in straight without pre-drilling some holes, and that could create a weak connection here and cause the bracket to fail in the future. So what would the solution be? Bigger holes or slots that would allow the treads to move from one side or the other if needed. And now for those of you who are thinking, awesome, this is exactly what I'm going to do, then go for it. However, keep in mind that, as I stated earlier in the video, that this would not be my preferred method, because it can be a nightmare, even with the slots, because the width of the stringers will also need to be right on the money. For example, if it needs to be 37 inches on the inside and you're 36 3/4, or it's 36.5 inches at the bottom and 37 3/4 inches at the top, then you're going to be breaking out the pipe clamps to pull the stringers together, or some type of a spreading device to force them apart. However, I do understand that the concrete steps with bolts already embedded in them will not require a welder, and will be easier to install for those people who do not know how to weld. Now, one more thing I want to point out before I end the video will be that if the nuts get loose, which they do sometimes, and you have slotted brackets, you could could end up with stair treads that move. Again, providing us with another advantage of welding the brackets to the stair treads, providing us with a safer set of stairs. And as always, if you have any questions at all, feel free to leave them in the comment area and I will answer them as soon as possible. Or feel free to provide us with your own advantages or disadvantages about these stair treads in the comment area.